Have you ever seen or heard a word and not known what it meant? Does it ever make you confused? Sometimes there's new words we're not sure of. How could the misunderstanding in this little video been avoided?
Boo! Ah! Sorry, Josh. I couldn't help myself. Josh, that can is all shaken up. It's ready to rupture, and I will not clean up your mess. Ah! I just told you it was ready to rupture.
Yeah, but I don't know what that word means.
Well, didn't you hear the clues in what I was saying? I told you it was all shaken up and would probably make a big mess. Those clues should have let you know that rupture means explode.
Yeah, well, I guess that means you're not gonna help me clean this up.
You're getting smarter all the time, aren't you, little brother?
So the brother could have avoided a big mess if he had known what the word rupture meant, or had taken some time to figure it out from the clues in the sentence. So what do you do when you come across a word you don't know? Don't use it. Use context clues. You want to know, what has the text said? Right? So you want to look for synonyms, antonyms, inferences, and definitions right within the text around the word you don't know. How do we do that? What does it look like? First of all, for synonym context clues, that's when you see a word near the word that means the same thing. So it has a word with a very similar meaning right near your unfamiliar word, and you can figure it out that way. For example, the hazardous air was so polluted, it was dangerous for them to breathe it in. So that word hazardous, if I haven't heard it before, I look around. Is there another word in the sentence that has a similar meaning? The word dangerous acts as a synonym for the word hazardous and gives a clue to its meaning. If I'm going to use an antonym context clue, that is when the author has included a word with the opposite meaning as the unfamiliar word. Example, Kenya was restless as she waited for her friend to call. She was anything but relaxed. The word relaxed acts as an antonym for restless and gives a clue to its meaning. I see this whole she was anything but. I know an opposite is coming from that statement. So I know relaxed is the opposite of restless. So then I can figure out what restless means. Inference context clues is when there's clues around it without directly stating it. So you have to do some more figuring out. It's not right there like a synonym or an antonym. It's something you have to figure out. So Ty glanced at the restricted area of the museum as he passed by. He was curious why visitors weren't allowed in. I don't have another word that means the same as restricted or the opposite of, but if I read through it, it kind of hints to me that a restricted area is somewhere people are not allowed to go, right? Because visitors weren't allowed in. He passed by it. He saw this area. All of that's like, oh, restricted means you can't go in. It doesn't tell me directly, but I use what's around it, the context of the sentence and the sentence after it, to figure it out. Direct context clues or definition context clues is when they directly state the definition in the sentence. They come right out and tell you the definition. Example, their elation or extreme happiness came after they arrived at the sleepover. See these two commas and the word or? Right? So the word elation is defined directly in the sentence with the use of the words extreme happiness. So I don't even have to think about it. They directly tell me the definition of elation. Here are some signals. So if you're looking and you're like, well, I don't know which strategy to use right now, which of the four do I use? For synonyms, for the S, you can look for the word or and then another word, or you might see words like likewise, similarly, the same as, also known as. Those are all cues to your brain that a synonym is nearby. For antonyms near the word, those are my opposites. You might see the words not in contrast to, rather than, on the other hand, unlike, however, or but. And that tells you that there's something that means the opposite nearby. For inferences, some sort of example is given, or you just have to fill it in like a fill in the blank. Like you need to take the word out and think of another word that means the same. And for D, for definition near the word, you're going to have commas in the definition, or the word or followed by a definition. It might say which means, it means, this means. So those are some clues to you of what to look for. So it's quiz time. Do you know how to do this? All right. The remuneration or payment for the service was expected to be around $1,000. Our unfamiliar word is remuneration. If I don't know what it means, I look, I have the word or, and then I have payment for the service. So is that synonym or definition? That's going to be definition because it's more than one word. And now I know a remuneration is just when I pay somebody for doing something. Right? It's right there in the sentence. The exquisite necklace was so breathtaking, women waited in line just to see it. It's the word exquisite. So it's explaining the necklace. But look at this other word right nearby. Here's another describing word for that same necklace, breathtaking. So something that's exquisite is breathtaking. It's beyond beautiful. It takes your breath away. The incentive was enough to get Lynette to do her chores on time. All right, so I don't have a synonym or a definition. I don't see any of my clue words for an antonym, but it got her to do her chores. It was enough. So an incentive, can I pull that word out? Could it be the prize or the reward was enough to get Lynette to do her chores on time? That makes sense. So when I'm using inference, I take out the word and I try to plug another word in. While some of Ken's friends speculated that he might be moving, others knew this was the case. So while and others both tell me there's something else going on, there's an opposite. My word is speculated. So if others knew it was happening, if I speculate, I must be making a guess. I must not know for sure. So remember, when you're doing vocabulary, when you're coming across a new word and you don't know it, you need to know what has the text said and look for synonyms, antonyms, inference, and definition. Keep practicing it as you come across new words.